Good morning and welcome to the Stalls TV Morning Show. I'm Josh.
I'm Jenna.
And we are excited to have you here today, and we have a jam-packed episode, lots of samples, lots of garments, going to be talking about special effect heat transfer vinyl as our main topic. And so we welcome all of you that may be watching live on Facebook, watching through GoToWebinar, perhaps listening to the podcast. There are 5 different ways to watch or listen now, and we welcome all of you and encourage you, if you are attending live, chat in your questions, and we'll make sure that we get to them throughout this morning's show. But first, we have Look of the Week, right?
Yeah, so let's start that off. We have this awesome look done in Glitter Flake from Jennifer. She lives in Alabama. I really like this look. I like the detail that she added in there. Doing this with Glitter Flake is something not very easy, so being able to achieve this by using Glitter Flake is really cool.
Yeah, there are a lot of little dots sort of weeded out there across the sort of forehead of the cat. Some of the things I like about it particularly are sort of the accenting and the detail around the neckline, personalization on the sleeve. You have a vinyl cutter, you have a heat press, so adding personalization always separates your work from the next guy that may be screen printing or using a process that's intended for high volume. So very cool look from Jennifer. Congratulations on winning this week's Look of the Week. It was shared through Facebook, and if you too want to submit for Look of the Week, there's 3 ways you can do that. You can email tv@stalls.com, share them every Saturday on Facebook. There's a show and tell section that we do on Saturdays. I think there were over 100 entries again this week. And last but not least, tag us on Instagram, and you see all those cool submissions coming across on Instagram, right?
Right.
Okay. So that's how to submit your stuff, and we're going to show you our look of this week in our normal Make It Monday session, this time with Courtney Singer. Let's go over there.
Good morning and welcome to Make It Monday, where we show you how to print something live every morning on the Stalls TV Morning Show. You guys requested these live demonstrations, so we definitely want to go with your request and do something fun. Today we have a Padfolio, which is the perfect office companion to give you guys a competitive edge. They can range anywhere from a playful style, putting like a personal message on the Padfolio, or you can add your branding for company awareness. So today I went with a more fun design because I'm a planner myself and I wanted to make something that I would also like. So let's head to the press. All right, so to load this design on, there are a few zippers and pockets in here, but since the Padfolio is made of leather or faux leather, it kind of already has that cushion in there as though we're using a heat printing pillow. So for this design, I chose Work Harder, Dream Bigger with fashion film. And as you can see here, it's 2 colors, but what I did is I cut the carrier so that it would sit on one solid carrier for a single press. Since this is a heat sensitive item, we don't want to press it too much, just so the Padfolio doesn't melt. So we're going to start by tacking the design at 320 for 2 to 5 seconds. Adjust the pressure. And this is just going to release the carrier so that we can get a press without any Mylar marks. So you can see it's tacked down there, but it's not fully applied. Oop. And because of that seam, I don't think it got the full pressure, so let's do it for another 2 seconds. Feel hot. There you go. All right, so to get this full application, we're going to want to use a flexible application pad. This will ensure that the heat transfer vinyl is fully applied. And because it is a thicker pad, unlike the craft paper cover sheet, you're going to want to apply it for a few extra seconds. So 10 normally seconds added to your application time. We'll set that up to 25. And press. So like I said, this design can be anywhere from playful and fun. I chose the Fashion Film because of the quick tack and also because of the fine detail. All right. And there we have a finished look, Work Harder, Dream Bigger. Normally you deboss these looks, but because of high prices for debossing, using heat transfer vinyl is a great way to get this look cheaply. So that's it for Make It Monday. Back to the show.
All right, we want to thank Courtney for preparing that unique effect for us. It leveraged a couple key things. One is high detail on fashion film, also some heat printing techniques for heat-sensitive items, not leaving Mylar marks on faux leather pad folio, sort of the same techniques we've used across purses and shoes and other things throughout Make It Monday. I know there was a question that came in live on Facebook about where to source pad folios. And typically a promotional products supplier such as Leeds, Leeds, would be a good place to source office supplies, gifts, unique items like that. So pretty cool concept, and we would encourage you to try that out utilizing the techniques that you were taught this morning. Now, today, special effect heat transfer vinyl. And I know when we were sort of rehearsing the morning show, we do practice before we go live. So we know our talk points. You're really excited about this episode because there are a lot of effects here that you regularly utilize in your Project Press It videos that you do and shirts that you make around the office. But we're going to lead off with one of my favorite materials. And it's sort of just leaning into the special effect category, and that is metallic heat transfer vinyl. So it's not quite as blingy as a foil or a glitter that you may like, but the reason I like metallic heat transfer vinyl is because it's very easy to execute. It can be masculine or feminine, which means this is an easy extension from basic finishes into the world of special effect heat transfer vinyl for very little cost difference to jump up into this. So talk to us about this particular metallic heat transfer vinyl we've used.
Okay, so here we have Premium Plus. So with Fashion Film and Premium Plus, those both have metallic colors available. The reason I would choose this, or for a specific market I would use this type of metallic finish for, is for fan wear, especially for the men side of apparel. So if you're decorating very gender specific and you're trying to target men, then this is something I would go with because it's not too flashy as opposed to like foil or something like that.
Or glitter that we'll get into.
Right.
Yeah, and one of the things I like is it can sort of go for any customer. So if you're looking for a special effect material to unite the whole school, everybody can wear a metallic heat transfer film. And so just talking about special effect heat transfer films in general before I pull out electric, which is sort of the next progression of vibrancy in the metallic world, is why would a decorator watching here today want to make sure special effects are part of their product offering?
Well, if I was a decorator and I wanted to make this a part of my product offering, I would want this because it gives my customers more option whenever they're choosing what type of decoration they want on their t-shirt. So if you're offering more than just a matte finish or a flat finish, then this is something you could offer, and it would essentially bring in more repeat customers because they know that you have a lot to pick from.
Yeah, so it's more exciting than just flat finishes. You can certainly merchandise this side by side with a basic finish and charge it like an upgrade for a special effect, but it definitely separates your business from a lot of other decorators, not necessarily other heat printers, because everybody can utilize special effect heat transfer vinyl, but it does separate what you're able to do from perhaps an embroiderer or a screen printer that may have a more difficult time achieving some of these looks. So the next progression is what we would call electric here from Stahls. Kind of looks metallic as well, but I know there's more color options available in Fashion Film Electric, and sort of the story on this one is some shades are more metallic, like we're looking at the blue here, but we have some that are sort of an iridescent effect, almost a color changing effect in the electric line.
And some of them even have prism to them as well. I know silver specifically has kind of like a carbon fiber finish to it. So that's a really cool option as well for the electric
Yeah,
line.
so electric comes in, I don't know, about 10 or 12 colors, but you add that to the metallic line and kind of present that together. They're at similar price points. Not electric's probably about 10-15% more than a metallic vinyl, but very easy to use. You don't really need to change much about your heat application settings, change much about your blade settings. So if you're looking for something that's easy, sort of as dipping your toe into the water, special effects without having to mess with the blade depth because you're new or the downforce too much, these are two great choices that you can do. And they are both fully combinable, layerable, interchangeable with the Fashion Film line, which is our most popular line of heat transfer film from Stahls. So there's some questions coming in. I believe these are relevant to the binder, so I'm going to come back to those later from Facebook Live and keep rolling with our special effects. So we have Fashion Film Metallic, we have Fashion Film Electric, and then we go towards a complete different category, which is glaze. So it looks very much the same in that it's metallic, but talk to me about how this material is different.
I think it's very unique. This material takes on a different look depending on the type of garment that you're applying it to. So you can see here that we have silver and blue glaze applied to a blue shirt. So this is actually going to take on that color and give you more of a tone-on-tone effect, which is very popular in the industry. Now, if you're applying it to a darker garment, like what we have here, we have gold on kind of like a charcoal color shirt. This is going to give you more of a metallic look. So based off of the type of garment you're applying to, it looks like two different materials.
Yeah, and so just to be clear, glaze, if you sort of think of like a glazed donut, right, where you
Right.
I had some donuts here this morning, where you think of like a sort of transparent glaze that's on top of the donut that basically changes based on the color of the donut, or in this case, the color of the
Right.
garment. Are you buying into my analogy here?
I can totally
a little
get
bit. Okay, so you have this sort of semi-transparent heat transfer vinyl that changes color intensity and really changes color based on what it's applied to. So the darker the color of the shirt, the more intensity you're going to get. If you apply it to a white shirt, you're going to get a very sort of understated tonal metallic. And so we like to put this on darker colored shirts primarily, and also tone on tone. So we play into the blue on a blue shirt or Columbia blue shirt, and it looks
Right.
like just a metallic sheen of the shirt. So that one is cool, very thin, very light. As you might imagine from a transparent vinyl, you're going to get that softness, the stretchability. So as you start to go more into technical textiles, performance wear, glaze is a great choice for something that's a low temp, perform, stretches for those sorts of markets. Now, you like to break the rules and layer glaze a little bit, right?
Yeah, I do this because it gives it a really cool effect. So if you're looking at it just flat, it might look like it's just purple, but as soon as the light hits it, it gives it a really cool pattern effect. So this is just one of many ways you can utilize glitter by using with a mixed media such as fashion film like you're seeing here.
Yeah, and this gives you a good idea of sort of the way it reacts on different colors. So this is all gold, but it's gold on a purple background of fashion film and then gold straight on the sort of heather gray shirt. So you get a way, it sort of changes based on the direction that you look at it. So glaze, a really cool sort of venture into special effects to get something different. Now, some may be saying that these just aren't mirror-like enough. These just aren't blingy enough for me. And that's where we would go to a product that's relatively new out there in the market, is the process of using a heat transfer vinyl adhesive only, so just the heat activated adhesive, and combining that with a mirror-like foil. And that's a sample we want to show you here. So why would somebody want to jump to heat transfer foil over the other ones we just looked at?
In my opinion, the other ones we looked at are pretty minimalistic when it comes to comparing it to foil. There are so many different things you can do with foil, so this is just one. You're seeing two colors mixed together by crinkling the paper and laying one on top of the other. So that's one way to get two-colored look with foil. And then you have, I'm just going to dig underneath here, this option where you can place a bunch of different pieces of foil down and get a lot of different colors at once. And this is something we kind of like to call a graffiti effect. So it's just using one layer of adhesive and then putting down a bunch of pieces of foil to give it a really unique look.
Okay. And then one of the things I would normally say is if you want just a single color metallic look, foil is going to give you a more mirror-like finish, but if you can sell a customer on the electric, it's going to be a simple single-step process. But if you do need to have that sort of foil, almost reflective mirror finish, or you want to start combining colors, completing the graffiti look, mixing in tones, and really just getting creative with what you're doing, that's where you would go to the foil. So it's actually a two-step process. I'm cutting the adhesive, pressing it down, and then I'm working with the foil, combining colors, mixing it, matching it. We have full hour classes about all the cool stuff you can do with foil, and it's one of our top-selling new effects that we have out there.
Being because it's such a sought-after look. You're seeing in a lot of retail stores, specifically Nike and Under Armour are putting this on a lot of their workout shirts, and it's just a really nice effect to add just if you want something to really pop off the garment. So this is definitely one of the better options when it comes to metallic.
Okay, and then still the top selling, maybe not the top growing anymore, but the top selling effect is glitter. And I'm sure most watching today, if you're in the world of heat transfer vinyl, you've probably used the glitter flake material before. So there are, probably a dozen different glitter styles out there in the market when it comes to heat transfer vinyl. The most popular of which is still this glitter flake material because you actually have a texture to the glitter, not one where it'll flake off on your hands, but you actually get the true texture to the glitter, and you see that actual glitter particle as part of the finish.
Yeah, and it just adds a really nice dimension to your design. So even if you're doing an all-over full print with all of it or pairing it with something else, such as rhinestones.
That was my cue, right?
Yes. This is another really popular look for not just cheerleaders and dancers, but for fan wear as well.
Yeah, I used to say glitter is the new rhinestones. That was probably about 3 years ago, but now I feel like they're sort of neck and neck. I don't think they're plateauing. I think they're still growing in sales and popularity. I talk to customers that are using glitter, and I've actually seen customers presenting glitter, and they're still the same wow and response, and just came from another weekend of dance competitions, and glitter was by far the most popular product that was everywhere, that and rhinestones. But I feel like foil is sort of the new and creeping up on those two as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Glitter, you do have to have some special considerations when you're processing it. It's a little thicker material, so when you're cutting, if you have a higher-end cutting machine, you may want to enable settings like overcut on the machine. If it's a Graphtec or the newest Roland GS24, that's going to help you cut it cleanly. You're definitely going to have to increase your downforce, depending on whether you have a craft cutter or a large format cutter, just increase it accordingly. And you definitely, depending on your blade extension, you may have to extend your blade slightly more to accurately cut glitter. But 60-degree blade, probably ideal, a higher angle blade, but I've cut glitter, thousands of yards of it with a 45-degree blade by having that overcut option enabled.
Yeah, and if you're working with a lot of craft cutters, such as the Silhouette or the Brother, you are going to have to increase your blade to about a 4 or a 5.
Okay, and so glitter is a really cool product, and sort of if you still need more, then there's hologram, right? And this one's almost, and for my taste, too loud, but some people love hologram. And hologram gives you this sort of iridescent sparkle. It is more of a smooth finish, so you don't actually have a texture to it. But it's actually a hologram foil material that's encapsulated into an adhesive and a polyurethane layer in the manufacturing, and you just get a brightness, a rainbow, and a sparkle unlike any other material. You can see this from 100 yards away.
Yeah, and I'm glad you actually brought this up right after the rhinestones, because you can use this for faux rhinestones. So if you don't have the ability to get rhinestones, you can just cut hologram on your cutter and achieve a faux rhinestone look as well.
And so that's what we're trying to show here. This is a little bit larger stone, but you can, sort of combine stones, get really cool effects. The camera's even having trouble with it because it's so sparkly and reflective. But hologram comes in about a dozen colors. Once again, it's a little bit thicker, a little bit more difficult to process. You want to make sure the don't be afraid of the downforce. Make sure you're cutting through the material. It's going to make life with weeding it so much easier. Hologram, pretty easy, single-step application. Not going to be the most durable product. All the other ones we've shown you are going to outlast the garment, including glitter. Hologram is where you really want to start paying attention to hang drying and trying to avoid really large coverage areas, because when it's put through a dry cycle, it sort of wants to crack a little bit in that process. So hang dry application recommended. And I'm sorry, just to catch back up on the foil, it's a 25 wash. Guaranteed durability. And if you want to maintain the high sort of mirror-like finish, it's a hang dry as well.
Correct. And since we're talking about faux rhinestone as well, I want to point out that our CAD cut templates on stalls.com also offers templates on there for faux rhinestones to be ordered in hologram. So be sure to check that out if you want to test out faux rhinestones with your customers.
Okay, before we pivot to some different types of finishes, I want to stop and see if there are any questions coming in. So we'll go to the GoToWebinar questions first.
The only question that we really have is regarding the red shirt that was very early on. I think it was the first shirt you showed.
Yep.
As to who your distributor is for that particular garment.
This particular one is from the District line from Sanmar. So you get the contrast color sleeves and pocket. It's a really cool look. This was featured on our trend episode earlier in the year as well. But it feels awesome. I think it's a tri-blend shirt, actually. $50-50. It's close.
I thought so, but I didn't want to.
You didn't want to call me out live on air. All right, any additional questions coming in from GoToWebinar? We do have some about mixing and matching products coming on Facebook from Jesse at different application temperatures. And so specifically, I'll pull up this one because this probably has 6 or 7 colors just to show what is capable. When you start talking about mixing and matching materials at different temperatures, really what you'll want to do is you'll want to go to the highest temperature of all the materials for the longest time. And at some point in the process, it's very important that that material reaches its full time under its full temperature for the full application. However, as you're building up these additional layers, the idea of tacking your background layers, as Courtney did when she tacked to prevent the Mylar mark earlier, and peeling those is going to be important, but making sure you reach that full melting point. Most of these should be within 20, 30 degrees from each other, so you're not going to impact the lower temp materials. The only time you're going to run into an issue is if you have something that presses like at 400 degrees and something that presses at 280. You probably won't want to combine those materials, but if they're within 30 degrees, feel free to mix and match and combine. But there are special tips for what materials can and can't be layered, correct?
Correct.
You can elaborate on that?
Okay, so for instance, you can't layer glitter on glitter.
Correct.
So if you want to do 2-color glitter, you can just do the trapping effect, and we show that a lot on stallstv.com. I believe you did a full episode in CADWorks on how to create that artwork. So you don't have to layer, but there are methods in where it looks like it's layered, but
Yep. Rule of thumb is don't use hologram or glitter flake as a background layer. Pretty much most everything else is open. You can go to stalls.com on each material page, and there's a material combination chart is what it's called under the user guide tab under each heat transfer film product page on stalls.com, and that'll give you the specific settings that have been certified by our lab for product combinations. But typically, mix and match, feel free. As long as it's a polyurethane-based material and not PVC, you're not going to have any issues other than glitter flake and hologram. Okay, next, let's talk a little bit about reflective. This is one of those products that once people use it, they tend to use a lot of it because there is a huge market for high visibility apparel. This, we're looking at 3M reflective. It's actually been utilized with our rip away applique technique, which is a cool technique where we embroider it and rip away the excess, but we've just used the heat transfer film on the front as well. But the difference between 3M reflective and some of the other reflectives we're going to show is we get a certified solution, something that's ANSI certified for high visibility workwear. So if you want to decorate for a local municipality, perhaps a roadside work crew, landscaping crew, newspaper carrier, and the like, you're going to want something that is certified for high visibility, and that's 3M reflective.
And if you're not decorating for municipalities, then it's more so just a construction company like what we have here. We have our other reflective HTV.
Yeah, so this is just an economy CAD cut reflective, so this is going to save you somewhere around 20 to 30% on the price point because it doesn't have the certification. And the reason it doesn't have the certification is because it doesn't have the same candle power or retro reflectivity as the 3M certified solutions. You are going to compromise a little reflectivity, but if it's for something that's more fashion inspired or you are on economy price point, that's the CAD cut reflective.
And that's actually what you used on the shirt behind me, right?
Correct. Yeah, for the Soul Collector design there. The next is fashion reflect. And so not to really confuse matters, but there's one more version of reflective. And this is definitely the epitome of fashion inspired in that it comes in colors, which aren't, always practical for, a municipality, but great for streetwear,
Workout gear.
anything like that. It applies at a low temp, highly stretchable. Here you've combined black on black, and it lights up silver when you hit it with a flash
Right.
or flashlight. So you've worked with all of these different reflective products. Is there things that we need to watch out for, one that you prefer from a workability standpoint if I just want to try it?
If you want to just try it, I would recommend working with this reflective material. This one is a little hard to weed just because it doesn't have that tacky back and you can't get really fine detail with it, but it definitely has its benefits because it has all the different colors as well. So just based off of the design you're trying to cut out, that's going to sway your decision on which reflective you want to choose for that.
Okay, so let's talk about suede-like finishes. Okay, and I know this is one of your favorites. I want it to become one of your favorites. Start using this material and showing it because everybody that sees this product loves it. It's CAD cut flock. So talk to me about what you're getting here that's different than a regular heat transfer vinyl.
So even though on the camera it might look more of a flat matte finish, this is actually has a velvet texture to it. So it's very soft, but still very lightweight. So even though it's textured, it's still lightweight on the garment and very fun for fan wear in different markets. So depending on the different finishes you want to offer to your customer base, you can do it with just a vinyl cutter, and it's also used with embroidery as well as applique.
Yeah, so you get that soft, velvety-like texture. If somebody says, ooh, I don't want a vinyl, or I don't want that look and feel, right? They can use flock. It pairs well with fleece because it sort of has that cozy, warm feeling about it, and it's also used commonly as an alternative to embroidery for left chest applications. Comes in, 25 different colors, so pretty good variety of colors. And it is a polyester-based flock.
So it can be sublimated.
That's what that means, right? Just like the
Yes.
glitter flake is polyester based, so you can sublimate on the lighter colors. You have a sample of that?
I have a sample of the sublimated glitter. Not one of the flock, but same process. So just using the white or any light color of vinyl and then just using a sublimated transfer to transfer onto that. So you're seeing this with glitter flake. This can also be done with flock as well.
So the advantage here is that you don't have to buy pre-printed patterns. You can basically colorize with the pattern, with the style on demand to reduce your inventory expense to achieve patterns and unique effects.
Right.
Speaking of patterns, there are a pretty wide variety of patterns out there on the market, and I'm excited. Hopefully I don't spoil it for anybody, but I'm excited to say that Stahls will be entering the world of heat transfer vinyl patterns. You heard it here first. Let the cat out of the bag. It's catastic. And you will see that later in March. We'll be excited to roll that out here at the Stahls TV Morning Show. We're very pumped about that. One more flock application, and this really shows all of a good variety of special effects. Things like flock and glitter flake that you see here. That are tonal effects, which we really like here. And then we're even seeing thermofilm, this sort of glossy #1 you're seeing off the side of your screen. So even though that's a basic finish, it almost looks like a gloss effect just by the way we've paired it on the matte finish garment. So tonal effects are very popular. Experiment with flock, glitter, mixing, matching, can create some really cool stuff.
Yeah, and we can't forget about fluorescent and neons. So you can see that, where did my glazed shirt, here go. Okay, so you can see this neon effect paired with the glaze just really pops off the garment there. You have this in Fashion Film Premium Plus, and we actually have our own CAD cut neon line as well.
All right. Sorry, I looked off to the side as you were talking there, and I saw Brian Ellsworth's comment that I have the coolest last name. Brian, I agree. Not sure if I can get a discount authorized, but I do agree we have pretty cool last names there. But neon products are popular. What? You're just not buying that? The neon products are popular, and there's about 8 different ways you can get neon. You can get neons, or what we call fluorescents, in the glitter lineup. Here you've mentioned using the Fashion Film. We even have a whole product line called CAD Cut Neon. So it's easy to get confused about the availability of neons and all the product selections. What I would recommend doing is, if you have a core heat transfer film you like, try to look for the neon colors available in that core heat transfer film. Our standard CAD cut neon is going to be substantially thicker than a Fashion Film neon. So if you're looking for something thick with some dimension, that would be a good product to try as well. And then last but not least, which we have sort of behind you on that Soul Collector shirt where the shoes have been made in CAD Cut Glow. We're not going to get the full effect here with kicking off. We have all the studio lights on here blasting us. So you're not going to get the full glow effect, but the idea here is it starts as a white base film, it glows lime when the lights are kicked off, and this is always popular around Halloween, but I believe there's more uses for glow in the dark than just a seasonal use. You can use it for bars, restaurants, things like laser tag, nightclubs. What?
Those are good markets, I agree.
Ton of applications. You want to add anything to that?
Just that I agree. I think you hit all the markets there.
Okay, so a lot of different effects that are available to you. I'm going to glance over at some questions before I show you one more thing before we wrap this morning's show up. Let's see. Regarding the sublimated glitter transfer with personalized name Avery, how was that done? I was under the impression that you have to have Stahls custom print the glitter flake to get the sublimated glitter. Is that not true? A question from Summer. Appreciate the question, Summer. So on that particular design, we've actually sublimated it. You notice that it was applied to a black bag. So we have some video tutorials on Stahls TV on how you can sublimate your own glitter. You definitely want to go more with patterns and less with specific registered images, because when you have that sort of pattern fill, you don't really care about registering it in the sublimation process. On that one, if I'm correct, we actually pressed the glitter flake to the bag first, and then applied a sublimation transfer sheet over the whole thing. And the reason we were able to do that is because it is on a black bag, so it's not going to show the sublimation print on the black cotton fabric. Number one, because cotton won't accept sublimation, polyester does. And number two is because it's black, you don't get that sort of staining. And then we pieced in the glitter flake personalization afterwards.
Right, and this whole process is actually done in the craft corner. There's a whole tutorial on that there. So that's under our training videos if you want to check that out.
Okay, I think we've answered most of the other questions that I'm seeing here, Joe, unless I'm missing any.
We do have a question that's coming in on the go-to, and of course it just moved on me. But the question was pertaining to the flock. Can it be used on polyester performance wear?
It'll apply to cotton and polyester. Now you'll want to make sure that your polyester is not extremely heat sensitive, because from memory, flock applies at 320 and requires 10 to 15 seconds. So as long as your polyester won't scorch at those settings, it'll work just fine. But you just got to make sure your polyester can accept that time and that temperature to use the flock there. It doesn't have a lot of stretch to it, so you don't necessarily want to use it on compression gear, but loose fit polyester, no problem.
And then referring back to the glow material, will that also work under a black light? We know that it obviously works when you turn the lights out, it's going to glow, but how about under a black light? What's the effect there?
Yeah, it'll glow under a black light, but it's going to look just like anything would, like a white heat transfer film under a black light. And you need to make sure with the glow, you need to make sure it charges first. So it needs to be exposed to light for, let's say, 10 hours in order to glow for 5 hours. And so that's sort of the rule. If you have it tucked in a drawer under a bunch of shirts, you can't just pull it out, put it on, and expect it to glow. It needs to charge under some sort of light in order for it to have that effect, that glow. We good on questions?
Last one on go-to is what type of material would you recommend for using on a nylon fabric?
So the special effects are primarily limited to cotton and polyester. If you want to do a nylon, I mean, we have our Gorilla Grip product line that's good for nylon that comes in some neons and a couple metallic shades that you could use. The key that I always like to qualify with nylon, will it be laundered? Because if I'm going on to a nylon bag, I'm totally comfortable utilizing the majority of these special effects, and they will stick and they will stay on the nylon bag. They're just not designed to go through 50 wash cycles or 25 wash cycles on a nylon. So if it's a jacket, you want to sort of lean towards that Gorilla Grip for the fluorescent effect. You can use some of the reflectives on nylon. That would be the lone exception for jackets, because that's very popular for outerwear. Go to stahls.com, click on the special effect name, and it will show you the applicable fabrics right on the product listing as well. All right, there's one more thing I want to show you, so thanks for sticking around with us. We utilized some special effects in our Project Press It subscription box. So if you haven't heard about this, this Project Press It subscription box is a new product offering just launched from Stahls TV, basically for $19.99 a month if you commit to the whole year, or for $24.99 on a month-to-month basis. We send you this box along with education to your doorstep. So basically this is last month's actual box. So we'll take a peek, open it up. You can see it has some cool Project Press It tissue paper, and you unwrap sort of this month's project. And first we'll get a little explanation of the project. Karen designed this particular project, this month's look, and it talks about what's in the box. And the cool thing is we've collaborated with Sanmar, so you actually get a garment with every box, a blank garment that's either trending or will help you reach a new market. Then you get a step-by-step guide. In this case, it walks you through steps 1 through 8 on how to complete this project. There's also a video tutorial with a unique link that you can go to access the video to walk you through how to create it. Courtney trained you on how to do this month's look. And then you get all the transfer components. So in this case, we have a 3-color glitter design that was created for customizing this tri-blend hoodie, and the idea was it was for a school program to go out and sell to high schools. We also included a couple additional white glitter flake applications that you could customize the hood, a sleeve, etc. And so our completed look for this month, and we thank you for those of you that did share it, if you mind sort of slide that out, is we have a completed 3-color tri-blend look where you can actually take this sample, create a sales sample, and go out and sell that. In this case, 3 colors of glitter flake. We did the personalization drop on the side of the hood. We also did sort of a back hem, lower right-hand side of the hoodie, personalized. Now, in addition to just the project components and the how-to, one of the big things about this box, the tagline is a box to get you out of yours. So we teach you to try a new concept. We let you hopefully experience a new technique with the application, experience a new garment style, but then we give you a sales guide to go out and reach this market. And that sales guide is downloadable only to subscribers on Stahls TV, and it walks you through how to call on this market. We give you a Facebook marketing video that you can put on your Facebook page, high-res photography that you can utilize. Basically, it's a sales plan in a box for only $24.99 a month. And so for those of you that may be interested in next month's box, there's a surprise element, so we're not going to show you what's in it, but trust me, it's worth $24.99 a month to give you that sample, the how-to knowledge, and the inspiration, sort of the push to go out and sell to new markets. You can subscribe by going to stahlstv.com/subscribe. So I'm pretty excited about this one. But it's this exciting project here, our first physical product that we've launched from our Stahls TV division.
Yeah, and I like that it's unique every month. You're not getting the same material every month. You're not getting the same transfer. Everything's unique, everything's new, and you get to reach new customers with it. So that's the best benefit of it.
Okay, so we're well over time today. We want to thank all of you for attending. Thank you for your questions, and encourage you to join us next week, where Zach and I will be talking about spring sports and how to prepare and make money in that market. Thanks for watching The Morning Show.